This is Canada Talks, Channel 167, Sirius XM on our New Age Old School Thursdays. Welcoming to the Av studios now, Lisa Marvin from Metaphysique. That's Yorkville's premier spiritual growth center. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I'm so glad you could join us today.
I'm very happy to be here.
And it says here that you possess a variety of powerful psychic and spiritual abilities that became rather apparent to when you were a little peanut.
Yeah, a little tiny peanut, yes.
Okay, so what are those powers?
Well, I've learned that I'm quite intuitive, and it started very young. When I was about 7, I'd make my mom take me to cemeteries. Although that sounds kind of creepy at the time, I just wanted to see what I could find there. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I knew that there was something going on there.
I love cemeteries. I mean, it's not macabre to me. I would like to hang out with you, and you could just obviously you were a little. Yeah, when aren't cemeteries a good time? Was your mom a little freaked out by this? She's like, are you sure you don't want to go to the park?
Surprisingly, she's pretty open-minded, and she actually works with me now, so that worked out for the best.
Great. And do you have visions, or do things come to you in dreams?
I've only had one, let's say, vision, and it was about Hurricane Katrina, because I actually used to live in New Orleans. That's where I met my first teacher. And I had a dream about it before it happened, and I made my teacher come to Toronto, where I live, before it happened. That's the only kind of scary thing that's ever happened. But really, my tools are just to help people and to talk to them and see what they can do to get the most out of their lives.
Right, and it says that you take a very down-to-earth approach, which I think people are comfortable with, because a lot of times it's all very, ooh, boogada-boogada, and we're like, what? I don't know what you're saying, and the wind is in the buffalo, and that I think that's what, that separation keeps people from maybe exploring it, or they're frightened by it, so your approach sounds very different. So people come to you and say, like, I want to be a ballerina. This is my goal. And then what do you do from there?
Not really. Normally people just come because they're feeling unhappy or anxious or uneasy. They don't really know what to do. So we just kind of talk about it and see, because we believe that everybody can get what they want and where they want to be. You just have to do a little bit of work to get there. And
what's that type of work? Are there steps?
Well, there are basically 2 things I believe we all need to do to get to where we want to be. Okay. The first step is really digging in to seeing what's underneath all of our layers. So really digging into our subconscious to seeing all the faulty thoughts and feelings that are stopping us from going where we want to be. Because all these thoughts, we don't really even know what's going on inside of ourselves. So it's really important to kind of unearth those. And the second important thing to do is really connect to a higher energy, let's say, through meditation, your higher self, things like that. So that's why it takes a little bit of work and dedication, but it definitely can be done, because I've really seen miracles happen for people.
Yeah, I think people want the practicum part of it. Like, it's great to say to remove these blocks, but how do we do that? I mean, we spend so much time just with grocery lists and maybe the mundane things we can see, feel, hear, and touch. It's tough to say, okay, I wonder what's blocking me.
Well, handily enough, we have therapies that help you do that. So we have physical steps, people get frustrated because they say, oh, I play with crystals or I burn sage and nothing's happening. Those things don't really work unless you kind of learn to know who you really are and to know that you are wonderful, how you are, and just kind of getting rid of those things that are stopping you, as I said before.
So do you think the biggest barrier is that people don't accept themselves and they don't sort of live a genuine life or an authentic life?
Not on purpose. They try really hard. But like I said, there's so many things stopping us. You've heard of the secret and positive thoughts and attractions and things like that. So you can say, okay, I want a Ferrari, and I don't get the Ferrari. What's going on? I'm trying to think positive. It's really not just about our conscious thoughts. It's about something could have happened to you when you were 5, making you believe that you don't deserve anything good. And then it just kind of sticks and it hides in there. So we kind of try to unearth those things.
So you have to unearth it first before you can make them unstick. Because sometimes people feel like that's going to make it even worse.
No.
The old suppressed memories.
Exactly. It feels so good to release things that you don't even know you had, really. And you would be surprised what's going on in people.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
how would I be surprised that people are carrying a lot of baggage that they don't need?
Yes, that they don't need, but they don't even know. Really, feelings of fear, really deep fear, insecurities, anxieties. How there's a lot of people out there with anxiety and they don't even know why. So by unearthing these things and really looking in the mirror without being afraid, that's really what it takes, and a lot of dedication, because it's not easy to do, I will say.
So is it something like brushing our teeth? We have to make it part of our daily practice to maybe take deep breaths or meditate. What's the fast? Is meditation? That's always the way to go,
Meditation
right?
is kind of the easiest thing that people do, but have you tried to meditate yourself?
Yeah.
It's hard, right?
It's really hard.
Because
I've got ADD. I can barely,
exactly.
I mean, it's very difficult for
You
me.
sit there
I
and
have
you're like,
to say
"Oh,
meditation. Yeah.
I have to do my laundry, I have to do this. Oh, look at that stain on the wall," or whatever it is, because it's very difficult to clear your mind. We're not monks, you know what I mean? So we do specific kinds of meditation where you're actively doing things that helps you connect. So I'm a big fan of active meditation, not just trying to clear your mind, because that's
a lot of surfers out here feel that surfing is active meditation.
Absolutely.
For them.
But the problem with that is, and a lot of people, they say, I do yoga and I feel good for 5 minutes and then it's back to the real world. We want to learn how to maintain it. So it is remember I said the two things we need to do is connect, so it's the meditation, but then getting rid of the blocks. Unless you get rid of those blocks, you cannot maintain that feeling of joy and zen, in my opinion.
Right. So I wish there was something that just was like, blocks be gone or something on late night infomercial, because
or like
if we're not aware of them, how do we get rid of them?
Like the tongue patch, if you can just put that on there and then get rid of all those blocks with the 30 pads. What I will say is, in these days, it's a lot easier to do than in the past. If you've noticed, things are happening a lot quicker. So you find there's a lot more problems kind of going around in the world, but it's kind of giving us opportunity to grow and learn faster as well.
Okay, so is that a collective consciousness, or the fact that, like, I know when I made jokes, spiritual jokes, because I make quite a few in my act, because it's something I'm very interested in.
We love spiritual jokes, yes.
Who doesn't? No, I got Botox in my third eye.
That's right.
I can have my third eye LASIK'd.
Oh,
it's
I
hilarious.
like that. I like it.
And I always say, I think the reason that I'm not achieving my goals is my vision board is blurry, and that's not helping anything. So when I tried that 10 years ago, nothing, crickets.
Yes.
Like, it just really wasn't as much into the zeitgeist as it is now. And people really, I think, are beginning to say, just like I was mentioning to Paper with Paul Hellier, saying, look, guys, you've got to, expand your way of thinking. It's not just us. That's just 1%, the reality we see. You have to, and just, I'm big on like connecting to the source. I don't know what that is. It could be Bono. I'm not sure, but I'd love to know a more direct route to connect to that source, because we used to call it being in the zone. Do you know what I mean, Lisa? Like, you have a great day or a great show or something, and
in the flow.
You don't even know where it's coming from.
Yes, we love that.
Yeah,
and
in the flow.
Yeah, and for me, without sounding kind of like a hippie, it's really about kind of being in the heart and learning about what that means. So heart-centered stuff. And that, you're talking about aliens and things like that. And it is, we kind of are part of a huge cosmos. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to get into all my theories or anything, but yes, there are other things out there other than ourselves, because we're just kind of a little drop of sand, or piece of sand, I suppose. And the thing that holds us all together, and the thing that most of these other beings want us to know, is happiness and joy and love. They have a wonderful sense of humor up there. That's actually one of the most important things that they wish that we had, because we take everything so seriously here.
Oh, I see. I've always thought that was the whole key to happiness. First of all, I want to tour on, intergalactically, now that I find out they have a great sense of humor.
Yes, you do. But you make a lot of money in the cosmos.
I see. That's where I have to go, and I'll have to find Zork, my new agent.
Exactly.
And the other thing, then, I think I may have talked to Paper about this, is because I studied a lot of Kabbalah, and one of the reasons it appealed to me is they were all about something they call holy laughter. Yes. And they said laughing is your closest connection to God or source or whatever you want. I mean, I don't want to do labels, because everybody gets a little freaked out about that, and it's some Buddha, whoever it is, for you. So I really believe that's a connection, and people take themselves so seriously. Like, here's what happened to me the other day, Lisa. I, at a fancy dinner party, did a half gainer and fell. Like, never fallen. I'm amazing in high heels. I thought it was a superpower. And yes, and I wasn't drunk. I mean, I wouldn't have cared. I'd be like, whoa. So the Kabbalists believe that any kind of shame like that, when you have an embarrassment, it's equal to like a year of fasting. Like, it's a great thing, because people are held back by humiliations. And so I'm like, wow, I must be orbiting the earth by now, because I just have one moment after the other. I'm so evolved. So I think that is a big key, that also at least laughing can change your, I mean, I always get so upset with the whole secret thing. Like I truly believe what we're thinking is, of course, what we're creating. Mm-hmm. But when you're down in the dumps, and then you think, oh, now I'm down in the dumps, and that's making it worse. And then Catholic guilt is just,
That's true. However,
so hard to get yourself out of that state in that moment.
But we would say that's kind of a faulty thought, because it's really not that hard. Once you kind of get to the bottom, and you have a choice. Either you're going to feel good or you feel bad. And I'm not saying I'm happy all the time either. However, I'm aware that if I'm down in the dumps, I have the power and the choice to get out of it, because I know. I think our problem is we think our negative thoughts and feelings are stronger and have more power than our more positive ones.
But they don't. They can be
do not.
Totally defeated.
Yeah, not even. We need those feelings to kind of to show us the light. All the people that come see me, they're normal people, but they're feeling uncomfortable. They wouldn't start their journeys unless they were feeling uncomfortable. So if you're kind of happy all the time, that's wonderful, but there's no growth there. And
it's so true. It's so true. I was like deep as a saucer when I'm happy, because I'm not doing any kind of soul searching.
Yeah, that's right. But now, so sometimes I used to wish that I could just be kind of ignorant and happy all the time. That
sounds delicious,
doesn't it? It wasn't my path, unfortunately. However, what the climbing up the mountain has brought me was immense enlightenment and understanding of that choice that we were talking about.
Well, two things. Well, one, I always remember in Brave New World, I believe it was, the writer wanted to be, when he had this choice of anywhere, he wanted to go somewhere miserable where it rains all the time, because he just knew he could write better. And I was like, oh, it's so true.
That is true.
Who's doing a lot of deep thinking in Kauai?
Exactly.
Like you're just back into the ocean. Now, you said something about soul, or I didn't, and you said that you do, at least here, and I think it's metaphysique.ca, by the way, is the website. And you're listening to Speakeasy. My name is Carla Collins, if you're just joining us. And I'm speaking with Lisa Marvin, who is a psychic and helps people, kind of improve their lives, basically, here on Canada Talks, Channel 167, Sirius XM. You say that you do soul readings, and I want to know what that is.
Well,
is that like tea leaves, or do you just shake up the soul, drink it, and then whatever's at the bottom?
No, the readings I do are really more soul-centered, so I'm not really interested in telling you have an enemy or you have a blue car or things like that. I really want to connect with your spirit and to see what it has to say. I'm kind of just an interpreter, really, of what your soul wants you to know right now. Because all of our souls want us to be happy, want us to be as enlightened and joyful as we can be. And sometimes it's difficult for us to connect with that energy ourselves. So I'm kind of the radio between that.
I love it. Is my soul trying to tell me anything right now?
Do you really want to know?
Sure. It's going to be weird. No. Speaking of humiliation, hey, I fell at a dinner party. How bad could it get?
It's actually, so if you were to ask me the biggest message to you right now, it would be to really start to continue to put yourself out there. What I'm seeing is the energy of being in the spotlight, which obviously you are, but to know that actually the things that you're communicating right now are much more powerful than they've been in the past. So you feel much more centered and connected within yourself. Therefore, the things that you communicate out into the world, people can feel it more. It touches people more because it's more genuine from your whole self rather than just your mind. Does that make sense?
Wow, my soul had a great message.
Great message.
I gotta listen to it more often. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I do believe that, and I do believe that that's true. And it's always, again, because I think when you become a little more honest and accept yourself, or just get old enough where you don't give a crap what everybody else thinks, which is another big philosophy.
Yes, that's a good one.
Then you're going to connect. And now if people, are you on Twitter or Facebook, or do they find you at metaphysique.ca, Lisa?
We have a Facebook page, Metaphysique, or metaphysique.ca works just fine.
And you're located in my favorite area of Toronto, Yorkville.
In Yorkville, that's right.
Well, I hope you'll come back. This was fascinating. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thanks for having me.